Hello, I'd like to talk a little bit about the realm of Bible study. And inside the broad category of Bible study, we have a couple different ways to read the Bible. One is what we would term as more academic study, and the other is what we would term as devotional reading. So let me talk a little bit about devotional Bible reading first. When you're reading the Bible as a devotional practice, I think the question that you should always have in mind is, what is God saying directly to me through the words of the Bible? So that's the big question. That's the only thing you really need to be concerned about when you are practicing devotional reading. What is this saying to me? You may have noticed that there are a lot of different translations of the Bible out there. And there are many different translations in many different languages. For devotional reading, I don't think it really matters which translation you use. Almost all of the translations out there are very good, high-quality translations, and you can feel pretty confident in them. So use whichever translation you like. Use whichever translation you can read easily and clearly. Even an audio Bible. Audio Bibles are great for devotional reading, or in this case, devotional listening. So use whichever translation you like, and just ask, what is God saying to me? And every now and then you might find yourself taking a step back and saying, hold on, is the way I'm interpreting this a bit of a stretch? Am I going a little too far with this? Am I personalizing it a little too much, or taking this in a way that nobody listening at Jesus' feet would have ever taken it? In devotional reading, that's fine. That's not a problem at all. Because God's word is supposed to be useful to us. The Bible is God speaking directly to us. So in devotional reading, you don't have to worry that your interpretation is a stretch or that you're going too far. The question is, what is God saying to me? And if you are personally getting something useful and helpful out of it, if it is leading you closer to God in your devotional reading, then that's fine. Just roll with it. When you're doing devotional reading, I tend to recommend that you try to read a larger chunk. Don't get stuck in the details. Don't focus on one tree and lose sight of the whole forest. Read big chunks. Read it the way you would read a story. Don't read it like you'd read a textbook when you're doing devotional reading. Now, when you're sitting down for some heavy Bible study in the academic sense, I think the question you should ask is, what was God saying then? What was God saying at that time? And this is where the literary analysis tools that you learned in English class are going to come in handy. When you're reading, slow down and think about themes. Think about structure. Think about how one story relates to the previous story or the story following it. It's perfectly fine, in fact recommended, to analyze the Bible the way you would analyze a secular piece of literature. Analyze the Bible the way you would analyze Beowulf or Shakespeare or anything else from your high school English classes. I believe the Bible is true, and so therefore not in the same category as, say, Beowulf. But I believe the Bible was also written with literary artistry. And so the same tools that we use to interpret Beowulf or Shakespeare are going to be useful when we're studying the Bible. In academic study, this is the time when you take a look at several different translations and compare them, see what the New International Version says, and then check out the New American Standard Version. And then check out the New English Translation, and check out as many different versions as you can get your hands on. And you can compare one verse or two verses at a time and across several different translations. That might help you to get back to the central question, what was God saying then? In more in-depth study, this is when you use other resources. use commentaries, use trusted experts. But when you're doing academic study and asking what was God saying back then when it was first written, always make sure that you follow that up with the question of, how can I apply this? Because remember, the Bible was written to be useful to you in your situation.